Hi, my name's Corey and I'm an instructor at the ASI Cross Center. Today I'm going to show you how to embroider your own postcards. Let's get started. So for this, you need a pencil, scissors, embroidery thread, and heavyweight paper. So there's many different things that you can do with embroidered postcards. Here are some examples of things I've done. So as you can see, a little mountain scene, a kind of feather looking thing, and a rainbow. This is what I'm gonna show you how to do today. But you can really be creative and come up with your own designs. And this is really just a starting point for a lot of awesome things you can do with embroidered cards. All right, so the first step is to cut your paper into the size of a postcard. So what I'm gonna do is just divide this into quadrants and then cut it from there. And just for your information, the back side of your embroidered card will be all messy because it has all the excess thread. So what you do is put in an envelope, so you can't directly put a mailing address on there. You can also fold it into more of a card and just have it in the front side and then write on the inside. So, all right, so now that you have your cards, what you're gonna do is draw the design of what you want to embroider. So as I told you, we're gonna do a rainbow today, so it's pretty easy. You can kind of just eyeball it, but try to keep it pretty symmetrical to make it look as completed as possible. All right, so now that you have your design, you're gonna pick your colors for your thread. Because I have 4 lines in my rainbow, I'm gonna choose 4 colors, and I'm choosing green, yellow, orange, and red. So next what you're gonna do is grab your scissors, and you're gonna cut your thread. As you can see, the biggest one is gonna be the outermost line, and then the second is gonna be the orange, and then yellow, and then green. So I'm gonna make the red, which is my biggest loop, the longest piece of thread. Just to be safe, I would probably do 2 arms width. Cut that. And then a little less for my orange because it's gonna be a little bit less long. And then for the yellow, I'm just gonna do about an arm's width, maybe a little longer. And then the greenest will be the shortest, about an arm's length. So now that you have your colors cut, what you're actually gonna do is separate your pieces of thread into 2 mini threads. So as you can see with embroidery thread, there's a bunch of tiny little threads in there. There's a total of 6. So what you're gonna do is grab them and have 3 on each side and then separate it out. It gets a little messy, so it kind of gets tangled up, but you just kind of have to have some patience and play with it a little bit. And then you're gonna grab one, and that's gonna be what you're using. Why you break them up is if you have a more medium-sized needle like me, a full piece of embroidery thread can't go through this little hole there. So basically it makes the thread thinner, so it's more usable with your needle. And then I'll do all the rest of them, and then once it's done, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now we're gonna start the fun part, which is actually embroidering. So you're gonna grab your first piece of thread. I'm doing my red, and you're actually gonna thread the end of your thread through your needle. There you go. And then you're actually gonna double up your thread so it's thicker. Just like that. And then once they meet, you're gonna tie it off with the double knot. All right, now grabbing your paper, since this is the back side where your design is drawn, you're gonna start by threading your needle through the back with your knot on the back right here. Just like that. And then at this point, you can cut off the excess thread from your knot. And then pay attention carefully because this part is kind of complicated, but once you get the hang of it, it's super easy. But I'm just gonna show you the pattern of how to embroider onto your paper. So what you're gonna do is make your first stitch on your front side. And you're kind of gonna look on the back and kind of see where it's poking through and change the location to make sure it's matching where you drew on your backside. All right, first thread, and then looking on the back, what you're actually gonna do is make a second stitch on the back side, following your design. Just like that. And then to meet where your thread currently is to your first stitch, you're gonna go through this hole right here, as you can see, sorry about that, and poke it through, making a second stitch on your front. All right, now looking at your back, now you're kind of going backwards, you see that? So what you're gonna do to get yourself front is you're gonna double up on this stitch on the back, doing exactly what you just did, going at that, and then see, now you're in the right location to do your third stitch in the front. Again, make a stitch, looking at the back to make sure it's kind of in the right spot. Just like that. Looking at the back, making a second stitch on the back side, following your design. Making a stitch here to meet where your stitch ended. And then again, doubling up on this stitch to get yourself to the top here. So as you can see, what this pattern does is it makes it so there's single stitches in the front, and then there's gaps in between the stitches on the back side, but each stitch is a double stitch. So just follow that pattern all the way through your design, all around. And then once you're at the end there, you're gonna end your stitch obviously with the knot on the back side again. And so I'll show you how to do that last knot at the end. So yeah. All right, as you can see, I finished with this section and I ended with the thread through the back side. So what you're gonna do is cut off your needle, and then you're gonna double knot on the back side. So as you can see, I just knotted right here. And then you can cut off the excess thread, just like that. And there you have it. Your first section is done. All right, as you can see, here's the finished product. All I did to do this was repeat that same process for the 3 other sections of the rainbow. I hope you enjoyed making this and feel inspired to come up with your own designs as well. Have a great one.